Hello guys, so for this last video I think you have seen how we are using the same function here in the part of age, okay, and we are using the same function here in the part of movie type, you see. Yeah, so this is what we call code reuse. Instead of me rewriting this code on every part, I can just put that code inside a function like this, and then whenever I want to reuse this logic, I just call this function, and if it needs any input, I pass those relevant inputs, and then the function will execute, and it will give me back my response. Or if it does not give any response, but at least it will execute, and then it will finish the job that I wanted to finish. Okay, so we call that code reuse. It is one of the advantages of functions, that whenever you have a code that has been housed inside a function, whenever you have a code that has been contained inside a particular function, then you can just call that function whenever you need that particular code. Don't rewrite it again. Don't repeat writing it again. Just call that function. Just call that function. Just call that function. So, as we have seen this use case here, okay? Yeah, but I want to show you one thing. You can improve this age validation here. You can improve it further, okay? For example, here, when the user enters a valid integer, you break, right? Yeah. But a valid integer can be -1, it can be -2, it can be -3. So you can say, I will only break because a valid integer can be negative, right? Negative is also a valid integer, okay? So you can say, I only want you to break only if the age is greater or equal to 0, okay? Only if the age is greater or equal to what? To 0. That is when we are going to break. So you can improve this part by adding this line here, okay? Yeah, yeah, because zero is a valid age, okay? There are people who have 0 age. Yeah, there are people who have 0 age, guys. 0 years, okay? Yeah. Okay, what about type? What if the user enters a valid integer, okay, such as 3, 4? It is valid integer, right? But is it a valid type of a movie? It's not a valid type of a movie, right? Yeah. So we can also improve this part here by writing like this. Okay, we can say we only want you to break this loop only when this type is either 1, or when this type is what? Is 2. At that particular moment, you can terminate the loop. Okay, you can terminate the loop. Okay, so this break here is used to immediately stop the loop. Okay, so this loop will immediately be it, it will immediately be stopped. That loop will immediately be stopped only when the type is 1 and only when the type is 2. Okay, because valid integer, it may be a valid integer, but what if it's not a valid movie type? You get my point? So you can improve it by adding this part here. Fine. Yeah, you can even make it better. Yeah, and you can even rename this function from get movie type. It will now be get valid movie type, something like that. Or you can just leave it like this. Get movie type is also a good name. It's also a valid name. No problem. Okay. Yeah. So you can see something like that. Yeah. So if you test it again, so if I enter -2, it will be a valid integer, but since it is a negative edge, I will not break my loop. Okay, the loop will not break. So it means I will be prompted again to enter the edge. You see? Yeah, you see? I'm prompted, enter the edge. I enter again -9. You see? It is prompt, you see, -7. You see? Yeah, until I enter the correct edge, maybe 98. You see? Now enter movie type. So if I enter 3, you see, the loop continues. You see, if I enter 7 or 8, you see, yeah, until I enter the correct, either 1 or 2. You see? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So here is the thing, guys, okay? There are many ways to code. There are many ways to come up with a program for a particular task. You get my point? So just understand what are you trying to do, okay? And then try to do it, okay? As long as you have understood what you are trying to achieve, as long as you have understood the problem that you are trying to solve, go ahead and try to do it. Just think and use your mind slowly. Go ahead, and you will build a good, you will build a very good program. You get my point? You will build a very good program. Just believe in yourself. Just trust in yourself. Okay? Yeah. And you are now a programmer. You know so many things. So whenever you encounter situations, before you go to AI, and sometimes before you quickly ask for help, just use your mind, just use your brain, sit down, think, and I'm sure you'll come up with a way. But where you see there is a necessity to seek for help outside, go ahead and seek for help. It's worth it, okay? And it's not a bad thing to seek for help, but make sure there is a necessity to do so, okay? I mean, it's not good to be lazy. Don't be a lazy, a lazy, a lazy person, okay? Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So even for this function here, if you want, you can make it to return a value instead of displaying a value. It's also possible to do that, okay? Yeah, no problem, okay? You as the programmer, you are the one who is designing your program, okay? So you can say, instead of me displaying the ticket price directly from this function, I may choose to return the price from that function, and then I will come to display it down here. It is also possible, okay? But if that is the case, then you will have to decide what will you display here when the user enters a wrong movie type, okay? I mean, what if you're going to create a function that is returning a value, maybe you're going to call it calculate ticket price, and then you're returning maybe int, okay, or maybe double. If the price is going to be double, then you can return double, okay. But here all our prices are integers, okay, so you can just return an integer, for example, okay. Yeah. But now you will have to ask yourself one question. If that is the case, okay, for the case here, I'm going to return 7, fine. For this case, I'm going to return 10. For this case, I'm going to return 15. Then what will I return here? Here, what will I return? You have to ask yourself that question, okay? Yeah. So there are various approaches people use. So for example, here we are dealing with price, okay? Price. So here you can choose to return maybe an invalid price, such as maybe -1, okay? And then when you come here, you check if the value being returned is -1, then you know it is because the user entered a wrong movie type. So at that particular moment, you can just display a correct message to the user, okay? Yeah. But you should not worry about that, because here we have already restricted that the movie type will only be 1 or 2, okay? Do you remember here in the get movie type, we have already restricted that the movie type will only be 1 or 2. So you should not really worry about what you're going to return here. You should not really worry about that, okay? It doesn't matter. Even if you return -1 here, you should not worry, because you know you will never reach this part. You will never reach this part because you have already restricted here. So the user will never enter any other number apart from 1 or 2, okay? Yeah. So yeah, just keep practicing. Yeah, there are so many possibilities. I know you may write this very program in a very different way and it will still work, okay? Yeah, you can create very different functions that are very different from these ones and it will still work. Yeah. Yeah, you see, there are so many possibilities. So yeah, there are so many ways to do something, okay? As long as it makes sense, as long as, yeah, yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's totally perfect, okay? So trust in yourself, be confident, believe in yourself, okay? Keep practicing. All the best. All the best.